All right. Hope the winter's not too loud. Can you please turn down the winter? Part 2 of our 1807 historical fiction scenario. Not remembering who went last and could conceivably check the last video for that answer. Decided instead to roll to see who will go next, and we'll give 1 through 4 for the French, 5 and 6 for the Russians. So it is the Russians that will go next. Let's bring this down here. This here. Ergonomics 101. And off we go. We'll go through the Russian hand, 1 through 5. We have a give them the cold steel. Which would allow how many units? Maybe one additional die. That would be nobody. So that doesn't work. First strike now. Probe center, counterattack, scout center. It looks like it's going to be probe center for the Russians here. That's 2 in the middle. Draw a new card. 2 in the middle. Middle's looking pretty good here. Let's go here. Now, moving him to means what? If we're calling this foot artillery, he can't do that, so he would go here. So there's 1. Anybody else in the middle? Certainly there's someone else. We said 18, did we not? This guy up 1. Here. Artillery's a wreck. Everybody's artillery's been left behind. All right, French. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fire and hold. To wait on that. Cavalry charge. Assault center. Bayonet charge. Probe left flank. Let's probe left flank. 2 on the left. So here. We'll fire. I'm going to get those arrows again. Get something that shows up here on the board. Hex to Hex, how you doing, buddy? Thank you for the compliment. The overhead view. Yeah, the reconfiguration of the whole room has allowed me to stumble upon this method. I've got the camera now sitting on top of the desktop computer. I had filmed a whole video thing about this, but it came out horribly, so I didn't post it. But at some point, I'll pull back and show you guys what I see and the changes I made to the game room, the table, etc. But it's it's worked out for the best in a lot of ways. Thanks for joining. Really, they're down to 1. All right, so we have a French line unit here that will be firing. He's down to 1 strength. Standing range fire. It's just going to be 1 die. And what did we want? A flag? They cannot ignore flags, or can they? Can Russian line infantry ignore? Why? Why can they? Yes, they can, but I don't understand why. Back to the Russians. 3, 4, 5. 2 on the left could be interesting, or actually that's a flank attack. So 2 on the left, 2 on the right. So we'll go with, excuse me, these 2. Let's go with this one. Full strength, 4 dice. Probably going to lose this French unit here. And he's gone. There's our first casualty. That kind of nullifies his ability to fire at anything. So instead, he will move up there. No, he will not. Instead, artillery will continue to inch its way into the battle. What a mess. 2 here, same deal. Artillery inching and firing here. Okay, lost 1. Yeah, it's still just 4. No, it's not. That is elite. So that's going to be 5 dice. There is a flag and 1 hit. Cannot ignore the flag that I know of. Retreat 1. Let's see. Flag. No, cannot ignore. So there's a 1 retreat and 1 strength point. So now he's half strength. There went that. There. Make that a 2. And I think that's all we can do there. All right, now French turn. My advertisement. Oh, God. There. It was right there. All right. What was I doing? French. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're moving in 2 days. And what else? There's a heart in the way. Why the emoji things? Moving away in 2 days, and that gives me some ideas. This gives me some ideas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, just to describe briefly, I had this table combined with another table, and it was awesome for what I was doing, but it took up so much room, and it disallowed me from accessing half of the shelves because I had a third table buttressed up against the shelving for the computer and whatnot, and then the table that I would play on was just bare. But then I had to run cords for the camera to film things, and they barely reached, and I could never get a good angle. So, being as it's been a while since I've done any major blowout Napoleonic battles, I thought, well, let's just reconfigure the single table I have set up, put the computer and the monitor on the back of the table, so that way the top of this map, just beyond the screen here, is the computer and the monitor. And having it that way, the camera, you exponentially increase your ability to shoot from different angles and things. So there's that. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Assault left flank it is, and that will be 6 units doing that. I'm going to need these after all. I now remember why I used to use these. Seems like ages. Seems like another life ago that I did this one. So this would be, he's going to scoot up 1, right? 1. Nothing to fire at. 1, 2. So this is going to be like this. 2, 3, 4, 5. Start moving the stinking artillery up. Yesterday I was giving everybody strategic movement, and I did a whole long spiel off camera so nobody had to endure that, which allowed a lot of stuff to converge, but still it seems like it's going to take some time for some stuff to develop. That's okay. Patience. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the Russians. So Russians on the right. That's 2 on the right. This is going to be moving range fire if we go here. We'll use a sideways arrow to represent that, and moving ranged fire here. Sideways arrow to represent that. And moving range fire on Russian line infantry is 2 dice. So we'll start here, 2 dice. 1 and a 5. Well, okay. Drops to a 3, pushes back 1. And that, once again, Kind of puts a damper on this other guy firing anything since he no longer has anything in range. So there's that. French. 3, 4, 5, 6. What is assault center card? Bayonet charge, cavalry charge, fire and hold. Oh, there we go. That's what we want. A forward card. It just says forward. That's 2 on the left, 2 on the center, and 2 on the right. So again with the arrows. We'll move him up 1 again, right here. And I'm going to try to bring up artillery. This is a mess, as I already stated. He will be conducting moving ranged fire. What am I going to do with this cavalry here? This is silliness. 1, 2. I don't know what to do. Let's bring these guys up. 1, 2, 1, 2. And 2 on the right. He will fire. And he will move up and conduct. Also, as much as I love this angle, it still doesn't really glorify the board as I'm getting it from this my eye level view, because I'm down a little bit lower than the camera. So I'm getting like more of a 3D than a top-down 2D. And I don't mean to gloat, but I'm fairly happy with this map board and setup. All right, so 3 strength, moving ranged. That is 2 dice. Looking for 1s, 2s, or 5s. We get a hit. So he'll drop from what? 4 to a 3? Or does he start at a 3? I'll have to revisit that, because we have a 3/4 on this piece of paper chart I'm looking at. But that is ambiguous. So what are we looking at here? Russian line infantry is a 3. And I didn't do the pre-battle Mother Russia roll, so that's why the slash is there. So actually, if he's already a 3, that'll be a 2. Fine with me. French have their work cut out as it is. And then heading over here, we've got still just 4 dice. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4. But this time we want 3s or 5s because it's cavalry. Ooh, we got 2 3s. I think this guy's done. Russian light cavalry. Oh, he has a strength of 4. So no, he's done. He's gone. Because he was down to a 1 strength. And I managed to baffle myself with that move on the Russians' part, who pretty much parked their cavalry within range of infantry and just sat there and did nothing. So I don't understand. I confused myself. All right, then moving range fire, French line. It's just 2 dice. We're getting 1 team rather. Well, now if we fire here, I quickly changed my mind. See, we would get 2 hits, so they'll drop from a, but they're elite guard grenadiers, so they'll go from a 4 to a 2. And they're done. All right. Let me go back to the Russians. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not looking good for our options card-wise for the Russians. We got a counterattack. Well, I take that back. If we use this counterattack card, we can do the same card that the French just used. So I guess, yep, 2-2-2, which is what a counterattack is. All right, so what are we doing here? He's going to fire standing ranged fire here. He will conduct moving ranged fire. There's our 2. Again, leaving these guys behind, which is not good. Definitely move him up 1. So there's 1. Center. Let's go 1 more this way. Artillery is never going to make it where it needs to go. 1 and fire here, standing range fire. Let's go with that. Let's start here. Moving range fire is 2 dice. 1s or 2s are welcomed, and we got 1 hit. He's now half strength. This guy is going to do standing range fire, but he's half strength, so that's going to be 2 dice as well. 1s or 2s, we got nothing. A 4 and a 3 does not help us. And then our elite guard grenadiers, who are now, that unit at least is 2 half strength, is going to fire with 3 dice, though. That's pretty good. 3 dice it is. There's 1 hit and a 5 spot. So he'll go from 4 to a 3. And withdraw 1 hex. That's the end of that. All right, French again. 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got this assault center card, which means 6 units, but I think what I'm going to try to do, instead of continuing straight forward with this cavalry against full strength infantry, and no real way to benefit from putting these guys in square, I think we'll head around this way through this gap with the cavalry to take out this cavalry. I think that's what I want to do. 6, you say? 1, 2, 3. There's 1. 1, 2, 3. That was kind of a waste, but 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 makes 5. 1, 2. There's your 6 in the center. In the center. Okay. Back to Russians. What do we got here? Assault right flank. The Russians have decided to assault the right flank. That will give 5 units the ability to activate, and it'll put standing range fire here. Standing range fire here. Scoot up 1 there. That's 3, 4, 5, and the leader is way back there. What a mess. Back to the French. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Frenchies. 3 on the right. Let's go with it. Well, what am I doing? I haven't resolved this fire yet. So did I do this or did I not do this? I can't remember. No. So 2 dice. There's 1 hit. He's now down to a 1. And this guy should be able to finish him off with 4 dice. 1, 0. Yeah, he's gone. So there's our second casualty. That's 2 French units and 1 Russian cavalry eliminated. And now we can do attack right flank. I'm all screwed up here. How did this happen? Somebody's attacking right flank. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thanks for watching, John. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A bit confused here at the moment as to what I'm doing. I think it's 3 on the French right is where we're at. 1, 2, 3 on the French right. Let's get this artillery somewhere. 1. So there's 1. Fire here. That's 2. And push this fresh unit up at least 1. Makes 3. Nothing within range, but getting there. It's a process. It's a process. Let's go with 4 here and eliminate that dude. Give me a 3. I got it. So there's 2 light cavalry units going. Again, because they oddly just moved up and then just sat there doing nothing. So, I don't know. Now we're back to the Russians. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I drew a new card. Russians 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Oh, we've got a coordinated advance that we can take advantage of here for said Russians. 1 on the left, 2 in the middle, and 1 on the right. Let's mark who we want to use. 1 on the right. What am I? Simply going to move artillery up there. So there's the 1 on the right, 1 on the left. Same, move artillery up here. And 2 in the center. Kind of hard to keep plans from yourself. So knowing that this gap is going to be taken advantage of, well, let's make it a little more difficult for that to happen. What do you say? All right, that's the Russians' turn. French again. As slow and methodical as this is going, it does have a sense of realism to it, at least for me, because it feels like almost like real time. Like you're actually witnessing things develop with these commands and colors games. The scenarios, the official scenarios, everything's already in place and ready to go. There's no maneuvering or anything like that, which, again, I understand why it's done that way, but people don't want to spend 3 days playing a single scenario. I get it. But at least right now, I'm enjoying this. Elon, cavalry charge. What are we doing if we did a cavalry charge? Issue an order to 4 or fewer. Not yet. We'll hang on to that. Bayonet charge, I don't think is ready to be used yet, nor is fire and hold. So kind of bulk here with 1 left scout left flank, which means move this guy up. I should probably re-implement my house rule strategic movement stuff here because our artillery is getting nowhere. Russians again. Two in the center. What does that mean? That means this artillery piece for the center, Russian center, may actually be seeing some action here soon. I guess that's what that means. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back to the French. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is the winter too loud for anybody? You probably don't even hear it. 5, 6. Got the sounds of wind blowing from another channel on YouTube here. One bayonet charge, fire and hold rally. Well, we're gonna have to do something here because I have no more. It's Elan cavalry charge bayonet. Well, too far out yet for that cavalry charge against the opposing cavalry as the gap slowly closes. I don't want to use Elan, or do I? Bayonet charge. Nobody's really in place to benefit from that yet. Fire and hold. Again, nobody's as of yet in place to really utilize that card to full effect. So here's something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to discard all 6 cards and draw 6 new cards. Where in the rules does it state you can do that? Well, it doesn't. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I did it. 1, 2, 3, and that was to my benefit. All right, so let's go with this card for now. 2 on the left. And that would be moving up. I don't know if I could stop bumping things. 1 here and 1 here. Which means what? Moving ranged fire. Fire. That's just 2 dice. And that is going to be 1 hit. So 1 hit it is. So you go from a 3 to a 2. These numerical counters from... I keep saying OCS. No, I think it's the Battalion Combat Series. Some Bulge PCS game, I think. Sold it, but kept... There was so many of these things, I kept some of them. I informed the buyer that was the case, so no harm done. Russians. Let's do with this 2 on the left. And swing these guys around. So 1. Good lord. 1, 2. Doesn't look like much, but it's gotta happen. Back to the French. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's try and push our cavalry through that gap before it closes. So 1, 2, 3. Are we still in the center with that? Yes. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. It'll take 2 more activations before we can attack, at least with these guys. But they're getting closer here. And it helps with that 3 hex movement for light infantry. 5. 1 in the center may be the best we can do for now for the Russians. And we're going to fire at this unit here. We're looking at 3. Yeah, okay. It's 3 dice. Looking for 3s. They did get a 3, which drops light cavalry from a 4 to a 3. Everything has to be just so. All right, Russians. Nope, already did Russians. French. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoop, look what we have here. Now we can move 6 of these guys. No, we can't. Yeah, we can. Well, they need to be in the center, though. So this guy can go here. 1, 2, 1, 2 is 3, 1, 2 is 4, 1, 2 is 5, and 1, 2, 3 is 6. I think I did that right. It's possible I messed up something. Center cards are not really what we want anymore at this point for the cavalry, I don't think, because they're all just about on the left now. Russians 2, 3, 4, 5. Russians can push 2 on the right, which is what they'll do. These guys here. Yeah, I think that's going to be close combat. Yeah, is that a good idea? 2 on the right. And it has to be some, you know. I'm not doing that. I'm moving this guy closer and this guy. Let's go here and do moving ranged fire here. So 3 becomes what, 2? Yep, 2 dice. That is a nothing. A whole lot of nothing. That was what? Russians? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, French again, yes. 1 on the left, 2 in the center. Centers don't really do us much good. 2 in the center again. Counterattack. You know what? Let's go ahead and do the counterattack. That'll put 2 on the right. 2 on the right it is, so I don't care about that leader. I want to get pushed in further, though, and move up with this artillery. Firing at moving ranged fire. It's a cavalry unit. It's going to be 2 dice. Hitting a 3, you got nothing. That's how it goes. But if I could project at this point, it looks like the French may be able to seep through here if so desired. Is that advisable? Who knows? And then I feel, instead of slamming against that wall of guard grenadiers, I feel like if we can edge this way and in. What are the victory conditions here? I was thinking about that last night. And there are no territorial objectives as such, other than for defensive purposes. So I suppose it would just be how many guys can you knock out, and how many would that be? Well, you take the total and divide by 3. A third of the army is knocked out. I think that would be effective enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, Russians with another interesting card up their sleeve. They're going to activate 5 units over here. And I think that just closed the door. I take that back. 1. All right, what are we doing at 5? 1, 2, 3, 4 on the right. Let's continue this direction with the artillery, and then that leaves these 4, which is heavy cavalry. 1, 2. We'll close the gap instead of inching laterally with that line, that center line. We'll close the gap with heavy cavalry. What do you think of that? Which really only allows the French to continue to accomplish what they're trying to do in the first place, which was slam into that cavalry. It's probably better that if they were to slam into something, it be said cavalry rather than infantry. So I think both sides are happy with that outcome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's our center cards we don't care about. Let's we've got a 1 on the left here. Let's go ahead and 1. Take our first crack at this Russian heavy cavalry attacking with French light cavalry. And that's going to be 4 dice. Now the Russians will be able to battle back since it's melee. What did we get? We got 3 hits. Is that? No, it's not. It knocked him down to 1 strength. That was what it did. That was a pretty good. No, it got them all. No, it's just 3. It was 3 hits. What is the 5 on this guy? Why am I asking you? May ignore nothing. So we did get a 5. He cannot ignore that 5. So he retreats 1 hex, and he will not battle back because he retreated. But he is knocked down to 1. Now I could do breakthrough bonus cavalry attack, and I think I will. Same deal. Nothing's changed. 4 dice. Give me 1 more hit, and thank you. He's gone. And there's no more breakthrough there. You just get 1 breakthrough. So that was made the most out of that card, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Russian response. Well, if you're going to allow the French to do it, you have to allow the Russians to do it. Mulligan here. I'm discarding every card for 5 new cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. I've gone through the deck once already. We're almost at the end of the second deck, or the second shuffle. All right. 3 on the Russian left is what we'll do here. Let's go ahead and put these guys in square. We need a square counter for that. I do not discard the card for being in square, even though you're supposed to. I just don't do it. If we put them on top, what do you know about that, huh? There's our square. 1 die. 4, he got nothing, and now I can do the 1 die attack for the cavalry, who did get a hit. So that'll go from a 4 to a 3. Now, if we were smart about this, we would now take advantage of this unit being in square. How, you say, would you do that? You would do that by precariously balancing that on top, first of all. But second of all, by firing with artillery at the square. Now, how is this going to work out? That is our second of 3. Foot artillery, 2 hex range, 3 dice. And we get nothing, and a flag. Well, I've already said that squares don't often retreat across the battlefield, so instead of retreating, that 3 is now a 2. So he is half strength. That's how we'll work that. And then our third unit will be what? If we fire here, that is 3 dice. And we get 2 more hits. So is he done? Yeah, he's gone. he was half strength, and now the rest of him was knocked out. So there's the end of that guy. Bye-bye. Back to the French. Seems like it's been forever. What's the timestamp? 42 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again with these center cards. What am I going to do with the center? There's nothing. There's nothing in the center. There's 3 units in the center, for God's sakes. Fine, I'll do a center. Everybody happy? Let's bring him up. 1, 2, 3. That's 1. And 1, 2. There's our center. Back to the Russians. Oh, we have maybe something interesting. Let's do this. 1 on each section, activation wise. Let's go with we have artillery, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 range. Is that worth even messing with? That's going to be 1 die. That's not a very good. I will move him up though, right here. How do you like them apples? No moving range fire on that guy, so he's done. And then center wise, well, it's a good thing I've got Russian artillery to fire at nothing in the center. What's the point? We're going to fire here. So that'll be our center action. 3 dice. Looking for, got nothing. Well, we did get a 5, which cannot be ignored. So he does push him back 1 hex. And then 1 on the Russian right here. Let's respond with this heavy cavalry here. Why not? Russian heavy cavalry is five dice, really? 5 dice, okay. What does that mean? It's we got a hit and a flag. So there's no battle back on this guy. He's pushed back. And he goes from a 4 to a 3. I guess that's what that means. What if the Russians were to do breakthrough and do that again? What do you think would happen? We would get 2 hits if we did that. That's what would happen. So now he's down to 1 final strength point. Was he pushed back? No. So he does get the battle back with 1 die. And pushes him back unless heavy cavalry can ignore. They cannot, so it pushes him back. French, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When we get to the end of this deck, we'll call it. There's 2 cards left. French, 1, 2 in the center. I'm done messing with the center. Oh, there we go. Even though I said I'm done messing with the center, this allows what? 1, 2, 3. There's 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. There's our 2 in the center. 1 on the left. Let's fire with this guy. That'll be 4 dice. 1s or 2s. There is 1 hit. He goes from a 2 to a 1. And 1 on the right. one on the right is not going to be as exciting as you thought because I'm moving artillery up. Where are we at card-wise? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, final turn of this live stream is the Russians. What do they want to do? One, two, 1, 2. I've got the bayonet charge, scout right flank, scout center, probe center, cavalry charge, and probe center. Is this the time for the cavalry charge for the Russians? Maybe. 4 or fewer cavalry. Yeah, that's time. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. 1 here. That's 1. 1 here. One, two, three, only because of this card. Otherwise, that heavy cavalry unit would not be able to do that. We will battle with 1 additional die, so that should be 6 dice. Heavy cavalry normally battle Russian, that is, with 5 dice, but because of that card, it becomes 6 dice. So this is going to be a massacre. Start here. That guy's done. And he is. Bye-bye. He's gone. There's our first French cavalry unit done as light cavalry. That brings us to this unit here. Only 2 hits on him. I consider that lucky. And this unit here, same thing. 6 dice coming at him. There's a 4, a 2, 4, a 4, and a 4. That's a 5. He cannot retreat. So that's going to go from a 2 to a 1. And he can battle back. I'm going to give it to him 1 die to battle back. And that was a hit. So that'll go from a 4 to a 3. And there it is. That's our second part 2, about 15-minute live stream. I'll say about 45 minutes. Took a second to get started going here. I think I'll reshuffle the deck for everybody. That is twice we've gone through the deck here. We still have, as you can see, a significant amount of forces yet to be thrown into the fray. So we have all this stuff here still straggling, doing their best to make their way up. The Russians, for whatever reason, have managed to solidify a front line, defensive line here. We do have a leader that I've forgotten about here, 2 infantry units and an artillery unit here that need to move up and preferably plug that gap. Everything else, the Russians are doing fine. They're doing just fine. But the French, they could be doing better here. The center is non-existent. I don't know if that means anything other than allowing the Russians to maybe fold or envelop some of these guys into here or some of these guys around here. Who knows? But all the French, what they really need to focus on is moving all this stuff back here up forward, getting that stuff up there. Be interesting to see what happens with the cavalry here. We've got, again, heavy cavalry versus light cavalry, and then French heavy cavalry here. French consolidated all of their cavalry in one section, while the Russians have divided theirs up into heavy and light here. Earlier on, lost half of the light cavalry because for some strange reason they moved up to meet the French and then just sat there and did nothing but get fired at. So we'll see what developments take place moving forward, but that's where we're at now. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk soon.